Well, good evening. It's gorgeous out here this evening. I think it's like 23 degrees, 24 degrees, something like that. Absolutely beautiful. I just got to run down to the sheep pasture, taking the side-by-side down. We're gonna go patch up a little bit of fence, just get a little bit tighter before we rotate the sheep. The girls in there, they've got that field pretty well knocked down. There's some pliers here. They got it pretty well knocked down to the point where I don't want to go any further. It's gonna make the grass struggle to recover, so we'll get them kicked over in the other patch. There's a ton of clover in the other patch too, so I gotta watch that, because if they get in there and get a little bit too rambunctious, they might get an upset tummy, get a little bit of bloat. So something we'll have to keep a close eye on here anyways. Think they want some fresh grass? I think so. Before I get started here, I gotta walk through all this tall, you can see how much clover's in here. I gotta walk through all this tall stuff. And there's thousands of mosquitoes in here, so I think it's time to add, more than what is chemically necessary bug spray to the mix here. Oh, a little bit of Canadian cologne there. That field over there sprayed a couple years ago, right before we built this fence line actually, and the guy that did it sprayed this section here too. And I didn't realize it because I put this fence up, and then all of a sudden this grass died, and I was like, oh man, like we can't get a cedar in here or anything, but this clover is like taken over, and you can see there's grass in the back, but it's like all clover here, like with the odd strand of timothy and brome in there. So we get the sheep in here. Hopefully they don't eat too fast and get any bloat, but then once they've knocked all this down, I'll probably come in here with a hand seeder and just free spread some grass seed. Hopefully get this pasture to recover. But it's tough because if there is any grass underneath here, it really can't photosynthesize through this big heavy canopy that the clover provides. Right? I tightened up all the fence, and I gotta try and get them over into here now. And they've kind of lost interest, so run over and catch them here. They've got lots of this stuff down. There's still plenty of grass here, but it's not down to like bare stuff. There's a few spots right here where there's not much growing, but you can see this is kind of where it was thatched in, so it didn't grow really good beside it anyways. Where it is growing great, they've left quite a bit. They're not too keen on fescue, it seems. They like more orchard grass, meadow brome, and clover. And you can see out there, well, maybe you can't see out, there's tons of yarrow out there. They don't seem to like the yarrow. Here, sheep, sheep, sheep. Here, sheep, 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 sheep. We got one out way over there too. Gonna have to find its way back in if it wants to get some treats next door here. Here, sheep, sheep, sheep. Come on, sheepies. Come on, sheepy sheeps. Come on, sheep sheeps. Come on through. Oh boy. Mavis is feeling spicy. Don't try and go through the corner. The gate's wide open here, silly. Come on. Just go for it. Just get out there, frolic. You'll see it's a great place to hang out. Go on. Yeah, go frolic. Well, I'm going to leave these ones here to figure out exactly how an open gate works. It's funny, they seem to figure out how a perfectly good fence works and make their way through that. But an open gate, no, not so much. What's that all about? Anyway, he's going to run up to the house, have some supper, and then probably do some chores around the yard with Charlotte before she goes to bed. So that's one thing, like it's super important to have good fences. And for us, like we've learned lots of hard lessons, and it's especially bad with the lambs in the summertime because they're always trying to, like sheep are like, the grass is always greener on the other side, but like not just the other side, like 3 feet out the other side. So they push and they stretch and they bend your fence. So if anybody from Premier One is watching, like I could really use some of your electric netting to test. We have like 68 YouTube subscribers, so a pretty big crowd. Like, we could do some free advertising. We'll work something out. Anyways, give me a call one day. We'll negotiate something. So I've just finished up my 1 millionth Zoom meetings since the beginning of this whole pandemic thing. Found time to get a load of laundry in. Oh yeah, I've become quite domesticated. And now I'm just gonna head out, and I don't know, the wind's picked up. Doesn't look like it's gonna rain, but it's got super windy. So I'm gonna take advantage of having no bugs. I'm gonna get out there, fire up that lawnmower. I didn't get it last night just because there's just not enough hours in the day, but it's only like 8 o'clock now, so I still got, you know, a good 2 hours, 2.5 hours of daylight, and I can get that done. So one thing I gotta do just before I get on the lawnmower and fire it up and just go for this little joyride here is prep all the chicken food for tomorrow. So we have on the farm here, give or take 10, around 100 chickens. So we've got laying hens, we've got laying chicks that are coming up. They'll be ready to lay here in the fall. Then we've got some meat birds, and then some freshly laid chicks that were a nice surprise here recently in the last day or two. So if you're wondering, like, okay, I want to move to the country and I want to get into this whole farming thing, or at least, you know, some sustainability initiatives, really recommend chickens. They're super easy to keep. And I mean, you can literally buy chickens, and the next day you're already getting a return on that investment. Like if you're buying, you know, some laying hens that are, you know, of laying age, obviously. So what we did when we moved out here, we got half a dozen, I think, no, we got seven mature hens off of a guy out by Grovedale. And they weren't laying a ton of eggs, but they were laying a few, right? And it kept us in breakfast, and it was kind of a fun little thing, while the chicks that we ordered aged to maturity. And now we've just, you know, it's like a bad drug habit, right? We've just kept adding more and more and more, and it's worked out very well for us because, you know, we have lots of customers, and every week we're sold out of eggs, and there's always kind of a battle over the last dozen. And we're actually short right now. I've got a guy that I promised him 4 dozen on Monday, and I still owe him 18 eggs. So if you're watching this, Mr. Barry, I know I haven't forgotten about you. I'll get it taken care of. But yeah, Carmen sent another load of eggs out the door today without, you know, completing the original order. So these are the real life struggles we actually have, but it's okay. Yeah, we have, like I said, close to 100 chickens. We have about only like 2 dozen eggs a day that get laid out of those because they're in various stages of maturity, and some of them are kind of aging out, and so we'll have to butcher some of those here in a couple of weeks, but that's okay. That's all part of the natural cycle. All right, well, I'm dropping in here now from the future. I'm actually coming in from the end of the video because I forgot to say it in the middle of the video, so I'm coming back, throwing this in the middle. If you're not already subscribed, go ahead, go down below. I don't know if it's here or if it's here. Anyways, hit that subscribe button, and I mean, you're not gonna want to miss this, right? If you're a small farmer, if you're a hobby farmer, or you're a homesteader, or you're like my mom's third cousin, or, you know, you're just trying to keep up with what we're doing, hit that subscribe button. There's going to be tons of information here about regenerative farming practices, about pasture practices, pasture rotations, different ways of feeding and keeping chickens and pigs and sheep. You're not going to want to miss out. So yeah, get down below, hit that subscribe button. I'm going to go back to the future now and finish mowing the lawn. Yeah, I think honestly the hardest chickens we had to keep were the meat chickens, and I mean, they're as easy as it gets, really, right? You know, in this particular case, there was work up front to build the chicken tractor and make sure it was light enough and mobile enough that we could move it every day. And total time in a day that we're actually spending with those meat chickens probably amounted to, well, less than 10 minutes for sure, less than 10 minutes. So if you can imagine, so you know, less than 10 minutes a day of work is all that's required to provide all the meat, all the vegetables that go onto into your family's, you know, fridge or freezer for the year. How hard is that? I mean, there's literally millions of us that go to work every day and put in like 8, 10, 12 hours, 14 hours a day trying to provide for our family. Here's an easy thing where we can literally just put in, you know, it's not like the 6-minute abs, right? I mean, there's actual work required. There's no get rich quick. There's work required. But as far as actual time investment, you're not talking like hours and hours and hours every single day. This is just one of those things that up front you do a bunch of work, and then you commit to maintaining that workload throughout the course of the year until it's harvest time, and you can do some absolutely fantastic things for A, your family's budget, B, your family's diet, and C, your overall family's health. Just by, you know, sowing it, growing it, and knowing where it came from, you can do a ton. I got some supper for these meat chickens and they know it. So anyways, enough of me preaching. If you look over here, there's a few rain clouds. As I said, the wind rolled through pretty recently there. It's starting to calm down a little bit. So I'm gonna get on the old John Deere mower here and get that grass cleaned up before, well, inevitably I'm gonna mow the lawn, so it's gonna rain for sure. I haven't washed the truck yet today, but so there's that. I mean, that would have sealed the deal, but I'll get this lawnmower out and get it done. So I'll let you go. I hope you have a fantastic evening. We'll see you tomorrow.